When we're looking to classify organisms, we use something called taxonomy, and from this we classify them as a species, and each species can be traced back to a common ancestor. This was originally done using things like physical characteristics, because obviously if something looks like another thing then they must be related somehow. But as we've developed the field of molecular genetics and we've sort of been able to read the genetic code, we can now compare them and find similarities and classify them as similar species or as the same species that way. An example of how we'd use your DNA to do it would be how we found our actual last universal common ancestor, which is abbreviated to LUCA, and we discovered that this was actually some form of prokaryotic life around about 2.3 billion years ago. So you're probably wondering how's this classification done, and we use sort of like an order of different levels of similarity basically. So you've got LDKPCOFGS, that stands for life, domain, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus and species. There are a lot of different acronyms that you can use to remember these, but I'll just give you mine. It might not be the most child-friendly version, but it is: dominant kinky people can only feel genuine sex. I've remembered that since year 8 at high school, when I had an amazing teacher who wasn't very appropriate, but it stuck with me and hopefully it might help you. Probably get a strike for that, but well. So let's look at us, the Homo sapiens. We're in the domain of Eukarya. Our kingdom is Animalia. Our phylum is Chordata, which means we have a backbone. Our class is Mammalia. We're in the order of primates. We're in the family of Hominidae. We're actually the last ones of that. Our genus is Homo and our species is Sapien. You'll notice that the species is the only one with a lowercase, and your genus and your species should always be in italics or underlined if they're written. Homo sapiens can also just be abbreviated to H.sapien. Use this to compare two species based on how similar they are. So the lower down in the list, the last most similar level is, the more similar the species are. So I'll try and give you an example. So if they have the same family, they're more similar than two species that only have the same kingdom. So for the example of a dog, they have the exact same levels as us up until order, which is when they change. So instead of primates, they're carnivora. The family is Canidae. The genus is Canis, and the species is Lupus. This means the Canis lupus. They can also have a subspecies included in there, although a lot of scientists debate about this, which would make them Canis lupus familiaris, or familiaris, however you say it. So I'm going to go on about this a bit more in another video, but there are 3 domains of life. You've got your bacteria, your archaea and your eukarya. Up until recently it was actually thought that the bacteria and archaea were the same thing, but they've since sort of realised your archaea is your more extremophiles. And then another little thing that might be worth remembering is that your eukarya consists of 4 kingdoms. You've got your fungi, your plantae, your animalia and your protists. You've got sort of 3 obvious ones in there. The other one might not be that obvious, obviously. Animalia, plants, fungi, plants and animals.